Hey guys, my name is Zach. I'm going to be discussing classroom response systems with distance education. So as we start, we're going to go into some of the benefits and then some of the myths. So some of the benefits, as you can see on the left-hand side of the screen, are to stimulate conversations, prepare millennials for the 21st century jobs, and to have some breaks in learning. Some of these are really fundamental in the restructuring of the educational process. So as we know, many students cannot sit through an hour lecture in a college classroom. We need to split that up into smaller segments and to check understanding and level of understanding for those students through different places, and polling software is a great way to do that. While there are quite a few benefits to polling software, if you go through some internet forums or if you read in some of the literature, there are some cons or myths that are believed to be inherent of polling systems. And while some are true, some are not always the be-all, say-all of polling software. So a lot of places say the Wi-Fi is not compatible, or they're not free, and they may not work with your educational platform at the school you work at. All of these things are options or alternatives to these issues or concerns. Now, where some of the myths do come into play that we can hopefully squash with this presentation are lack of familiarity, distracted to the learning environment, and not effective in small classes. We can go through this whole presentation and provide you a ton of different resources and ways to use some of these sites that may be most beneficial for your classroom. So as you start to think about how can I include this, there are a few different ways. So you can ask students how long they've studied for a test, create a discussion board, do a pre-knowledge assessment, anonymous feedback on the instructor, so allowing students to have a voice in their classroom, which is really fundamental to millennial students. Promote attendance, social interaction, and accountability through requiring these polling software through in the class, which promotes students to come to class. Students then have to discuss or have interaction amongst themselves after the poll, and have accountability for their learning and putting in the time to study for these types of assessments. We can go through a few of the literature. This study out of University of Texas at Brownsville used web polls to enhance social interaction and computer-mediated distance education. This is the main study I could find with distance education. What it found that was 89% of participants indicated that online polls did enhance their social interaction in their class, which, as we know, for distance education is vital and something that we have to strive for, as it is federal law that there is social interaction within distance courses. So this is something to think about as a way or a means to the goal. We also find that in nursing education that the clickers actually had a 98% of students that used these stated they enjoyed the feedback clickers provide, and this was for active learning and skill retention in nursing education. So we understand that the feedback, that just not the assessment tool itself, but the feedback that is provided, most students really enjoy. And finally, this is what my colleague Heather described in some of her literature, was the study by Caldwell out of West Virginia University, is that clickers in the large classroom create a positive and active atmosphere in large classes. And we want to see the same thing in small classes, but there's a lack of literature examining this. So you may be asking, what software do I start to go with? And that's where you can go through the different sites and figure out which one best fits you. If you are on a time crunch and you're not very tech savvy and you're like, I want to use this but I'm not sure which platform, I would suggest either MicroPoll or Flisty. These are really easy accounts to get accustomed to. Flisty you actually don't even need an account for. You can just type in your question, activate a poll. So those are great if you want to do this a one-time system. If you were looking for something to incorporate into your class for a semester or long-term or across the curriculum for multiple teachers, I would suggest one of the bottom 5 on the list. So Socrative, Opinion Stage, PlayPosit, ClipChoose, and Poll Everywhere. As we go through these, I will talk I'll talk briefly about a few of these in more detail. And so the first one is ClipChoose. ClipChoose is a YouTube-based video polling system in which you can put 2 URLs or more. There's some polls that have up to 6 or 7 URL videos to YouTube videos that have already been published or that are published by the instructor themselves, and you can put those all up there, and the students are able to vote for which one they believe answers the question you're asking. So it creates a custom URL that you can share with your students. You can also browse already created polls and share that URL. And it's really beneficial to opinion-based context. So if you're looking at a debate of who was more persuasive, or if you're showing two techniques for medical evaluations and you're asking which one was actually correct. So that's a great way to examine and incorporate social interaction with opinion-based context. That it doesn't turn into a he is right, I'm wrong type of thing. It turns into a examine this setup and figure out which one is correct. Now, Opinion Stage is a polling software that I just ran across recently. It's very good for if you're a social media guru. So this is rooted in social media, so it has a lot of platforms through Facebook, Twitter, Google+. And it's beneficial for real-time audience polling, but I believe it'll also be beneficial for distance education. The reason I would think it would be is because it provides logistics and statistics on population demographics, which we know is eliminated essentially with distance education. That many people feel that they are not part of the class and the instructor doesn't really know who they are as a person. And the Opinion Stage allows for you to understand your learners through the reporting dashboard. So we're going to watch a quick video if this will load properly. Close out of the view screen. I'm just gonna play the video. Sorry, computer's running a little slow. So it's about a minute and 30-second video.
You can do a lot of things with online polls. Discover your audience opinion on WikiLeaks. Gather feedback on your new website design. Run a contest to select the best Rhino video. Elect the most loved NFL player. Or research the reasons why people prefer product A over product B. But whatever you want to do, be sure to use the right polling solution. Introducing Opinion Stage, an online polling solution that fits to your needs. A polling solution that includes all the features you need. Social network integrations built into its core let you discover who your voters are, boost engagement of your poll and site, promote social sharing and drive traffic to your site, extract deep insights into the poll results using analysis tools, filter results using social demographic and behavioral filters. Opinion Stage also lets you monetize your traffic using an integrated advertisement solution. The polls work great on all platforms, including desktop, mobile, and tablets. The only polling solution that lets you optimize your polls for what matters to you.
Alright, so that was just a brief intro to what Opinion Stage is. As you can tell, it's really rooted in social media and understanding the demographics of the people actually taking your polls. And so this is a great one that if you are incorporating different social media platforms, or if you're trying to understand the demographics of your learner and what is working, what's not, especially if you have non-traditional collegiate students, or if you have a mixed demographic of socio-cultural and socioeconomical backgrounds, that this may be an idea to incorporate into your class. I'm going to go into in depth about two different ones. The first one is PlayPosit. You may have heard of it as Educanon. It just changed its names recently, and I believe this would be most beneficial for asynchronous or synchronous classes, but I think it has a way to incorporate this with both. And I have an account set up for student and teacher, so I'm going to try to go back and forth and show you how this works. Basically, this streamlines your assessment process, that you're able to upload a YouTube video of your lecture or take a YouTube video already produced and incorporate questions and assessments into it. They have three different mechanisms for polling. We have a multiple choice, which you can see in the picture right here off to the right with the different colors. So a question was asked, what is the energy level in an atom? And then different answers pop up as multiple choice. We also have free response, which is great for discussion, and then a reflective pause to tell the student to think back about something else you may have discussed in class, reflect on a current event or a previous experience, something that really makes the learner take away something from the actual video. As a educator that's used this, they are extremely useful or simple to make and very useful in providing real-time feedback to the educator, especially with synchronous sessions. So I'm going to close out of this again, and I'm going to go into my lesson. So as you can tell, this is kind of the platform right here of what they all look like. So these are some of the videos that I've made, and we're going to use the skull anatomy to kind of go into detail. So if you want to share this, basically I have had students look at this. I can assign it to a class. You can make classes through here if you teach multiple sections, or you can share this with a custom URL. And that's what I've done here, is I've just shared the URL on my Blackboard page, and students can go through here and watch the video. What makes it unique is that I can also, if I go to options, I can broadcast this and do a synchronous distance education session. So I can broadcast this now, and then, let me log in. And then I get this link here that I can post on my Blackboard site, and then this code that's right here. So if I take this code, and basically I can see how many users are broadcasting this and following along. So once my students will go on and they'll log into their page, and essentially what's going to happen is the video will play and they will follow along real time. So you can see these little orange breakers, and these are where the polling software comes into effect. So I'm going to skip ahead.
Our TMJ joint, which is...
So then a question pops up, and I'm on the teacher site right now, so you can see there's nobody logged in. These are how many students have responded, how many students are logged in, and they basically will go through and answer a multiple choice question, and I can reveal the response to them real time and also see how many students, and it will pop up a percentage of how many answer each. So if I need to go back after the video lecture, I can. So I'm not able to interject during the presentation, but I'm able to take this information from the polling software real time for distance education. The second one I would like to go into a little bit more detail is Poll Everywhere. Poll Everywhere is great for instant audience feedback, but I think it will be really good for asynchronous or synchronous distance education courses as well. The reason I believe that is you can put these into Google Presentations and PowerPoint. They have links built into both of these. So if you were looking for something like Turning Point but don't want to do the purchase of the clickers, this may be an option for you. It's also mobile phone compatible through text messaging or apps, and it's also social media compatible with Twitter. So this allows many mechanisms using either desktop, mobile phone, or social media to answer these polls for their class. Now there's two different setups for this. You can have a free account, which is limited to 40 responses, or a premium account that offers up to 50,000 responses, a moderator, and you can register your participants for your polls. And what I like about this system, this software, is that it has multiple examples of polling types. So we have multiple choice, the open-ended, and like we saw with PlayPosit. But we also have three other unique ones that I really like, especially for asynchronous distance education. We have Brainstorm and Q&A. So with the Brainstorm, we're asking the students to write in their ideas on a platform, which creates a word cloud or a ticker with the responses as they roll in. And then for a Q&A, we are able to allow the students to ask the educator or the person moderating the session questions real time, and they can see those and answer those back and forth. So that allows for the audience to incorporate and interact with the instructor or with each other. And finally, there's a clickable image where you can provide kind of like a hotspot where you can click on a part of the picture and identify. So this is really good for distance education in terms of asking where your learners are from. If you're leading a one-time session and you don't know where your people are calling in from or watching or learning from, you're going to put a map of the United States up, and they can each click on their state that they're from, and you can see real-time how many people are in different places of America. So in my polls everywhere, you can see how this works. So I'll pull up a multiple choice question. As you see, it will pop up, and you can either text in or you can write in through text messaging or through Twitter, and basically you can click in. It will show you real time what people are responding with, just like any polling software. We also have the options of writing in long responses. So if people want to text in or write in longer responses for a longer question, that's also an option. As you can kind of see here, these are how the responses would pop up. So you can see how this would be a really good thing for distance education. So in review, there are many options, and it's basically about what you know about technology and how you want to incorporate this. If you want to use it one time, try to find a free account or a system of software that does not require an account. Most of these are free and easy to understand and start to use, and they can be effective in both synchronous and asynchronous distance education. There is a lack of research, though, on exploring this use in this platform, so we need to encourage future research in this area. And what I think the two biggest takeaways are is that social media is social interaction. That if we don't start to incorporate this into our class and we don't find ways to take social media into our classroom, we're going to start losing our millennial students and that social interaction which they thrive on. And finally, this is a new idea to having your phone out in class, that maybe we should start to rethink having in the syllabus no cell phones, that maybe this is the way to get a student really engaged into your class, that having something that is a comfort zone to them, their cell phone, and allowing them to text in or tweet in answers to class, that they start to understand that technology isn't always bad, and that I need to start to understand the best way to start to use technology in my class. So that review there's this quick review of a few distance education polling softwares, and I hope that you'll consider using them in your class. Thank you.